Hello, everybody, and welcome to our podcast, Welcome to Livingston, where we invite local businesses, people, and organizations in to talk about what they are giving to our community. My name is Don Putkela.
And I'm Angela Putkela, and we're with the Putkela Group Real Estate Professionals. As realtors and brokerage owners, we bring valuable insight into the local market and community every week. Thanks for listening, and welcome to Livingston.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Welcome to Livingston podcast. My name is Don Putkela.
And I'm Angela Putkela, and we're with the Putkela Group Real Estate Professionals.
Yes, and we are extremely excited about today's show. But before we get started, I just wanted to take a moment to have a word from our sponsor. So today's episode of the Welcome to Livingston podcast is brought to you by our valued sponsor, Jim Paquette with Lake Michigan Credit Union. He's a trusted mortgage lender who has lived and worked in our community for many years. Jim Paquette is dedicated to helping our neighbors achieve their home ownership dreams and is proud to support the local businesses that make our area special. We are super excited about today's show. So for today's show, we have with us from Michigan State Federal Credit Union, Ian Duncanson, who's the marketing manager for Southeast Michigan.
Michigan State University Credit Union.
Yes. MSU Federal Credit Union.
Yes, we'll get it right here. So welcome, Ian. Glad to have you on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. It's glad to be here.
Yeah, you guys have this big, beautiful new location now that, certainly your organization has been around a long time. Out in East Lansing, Don and I are both alumni of Michigan State as well. And so, long time ago, we're members.
Yes.
But in terms of now, the nice part is you have a presence in Livingston County here, which we've had so many clients over the years be members. And so it certainly makes things a lot more convenient for some of them.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure for us to join Livingston County. We expanded this way because we have about 10,000 members that are in the kind of the greater Brighton area. And we actually announced our opening of the Brighton branch and our expansion this way in alignment also with our Novi location, which we opened just a few months earlier. So really investing our resources and staffing and what we bring to the community here in Livingston County and along this 96 corridor.
Right. No, and you have a beautiful building. You're right there on Grand River, right as you get off the freeway in Brighton. Easy access, but people, if you haven't been in there, it's really nice.
Well, thank you. We take a lot of pride in our branches. They're designed to be, very open concept and feel a little bit less like, the more traditional bank structure back in the day.
Bright.
Yeah. Where things used to be maybe a little bit more closed off and you'd go up to a teller window with the glass across it. And now it's a lot more personal, and the way that people are doing their banking has changed so much.
Very
so
true.
much of it is online now, and when they come in, they want to be able to sit down with someone because usually a lot of times they're looking for that interaction.
Yeah, and there's folks that come in just to do simple deposits and withdrawals, but oftentimes they get an opportunity to learn about other products and services we offer that they might not have known could benefit them based on what their account history is or something they mention while they're in the branch. And then, there's the opportunity to apply for loans or any of the other products and services that might benefit them.
Excellent. Now, what makes Michigan State University Federal Credit Union different?
So 2 things come to mind for me, community and innovation. So on the community front, which is really as the market manager in our community impact division for Southeast Michigan, that's my bread and butter. So we donate to different nonprofit organizations, sponsoring events. We staff booths at different community events. We provide volunteers. We have community room spaces that are bookable by nonprofits. And so I get to be involved in meeting through our different chamber relationships and so forth, meeting nonprofit organizations that are seeking donations and funding to do really critical work in the community. And so contrary to some folks might think, oh, that's just a marketing budget. And I would say, no, our marketing budget handles billboards and all of the, print advertisements, radio ads, things like that. Our community giving budget really is to give back to the community and to make an impact in a way that's meaningful. And our storytelling is about not just showcasing what MSUFCU is doing, but what the members have made possible, and also the important work that those organizations are doing to lift them up as well. And
love
so
that.
it's just a unique approach.
Yeah, we're very community oriented and Livingston County. And so it's great to see that you're getting into that and doing that.
Yeah, it makes me proud to work for the credit union. And I don't just say that because I'm on a podcast here, but I've been with the credit union now for over 10 and a half years. And it certainly wouldn't have been the case if we weren't so community minded, because that's just such an important value to me.
Right. And I know it's always been like a great connection with the university. You know, we're both alumni. And I remember when we were students there, you know, it was, you know, the tents were set up and there was an outreach from the credit union to get the students involved, to get them to open up an account. You know, I think for 15, 20 years, I used a gym bag that was from MSU Federal Credit Union.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and given our origins kind of around a university environment, a really foundational piece of our identity and our community give back as well is our financial education. Because a lot of times you get students on campus, they're getting their first credit card, their first loans, and they're trying to understand, how does credit work? How do I build a budget? And so we have financial education that is available everywhere, including right here in Brighton. So
Great.
we
Tell us more about that.
Yeah, so we have a seminar series that's conducted online year-round. And so that's a virtual option that all of our members or non-members, you don't have to be a member to join, can jump in and learn about building credit. You can learn home buying basics. You can learn about starting a business. You can we even have sessions that go up to focusing on Social Security and Medicare and retirement and estate planning. And so, and it's all free, because we believe that the best way that we can support our communities is to empower them with the knowledge to make smart financial decisions, and then back it up with the products and services that can help them do that as well.
Excellent. I love that, kind of come from contribution and offering value.
Right, because there's so many people, they don't know how to set a budget, or they have no idea what credit is, or, you know, they want to get a car loan, or they're trying to save for a vacation.
Well, and it makes sense with you guys being kind of connected to the university, in terms of young people, because there's a lot of the people that you just listed there, a lot of them are young people.
100%.
So it really is a great thing, and just to provide that to anybody. So, because certainly not just young people, anybody can benefit from this type of information.
Yeah, and I think that's the important piece about the seminar series, for example, is that it is designed for every age, because you might understand the principles of budgeting, money in, money out, what's left over. You might understand the basics of your credit report, but there's so much misinformation out there now more than ever.
True.
I'm on TikTok, and there's a lot of would-be influencers who will give explicit financial advice, and sometimes it's based in fact, and sometimes it's not. And so consumers have to be a lot more wary about what is accurate information and how do I go to a trusted source. And that's one of the ways we really try and support that, is by being the fact check, the myth buster, and the accurate information source. Because truthfully, sure, maybe you do your business with us, maybe you don't, but there's not really much in it for us other than in making sure that you're empowered with the right information.
That is great, because even on the other end, you were talking about young people, but older people, they're transitioning. They may have done good with their money, but now, like you said, the Medicare, the Medicaid, they're transitioning to a different type of finances, and they need new education.
Right. Absolutely. And as things change, it's also important. Part of our seminar series focuses on our innovation, which was the second piece that I mentioned earlier. So as a credit union, we invest in different financial technologies that will advance the way that people do their banking for our members and beyond. And so some of the ways, for example, there's a product called CVV Key that our members can download for free. It's a mobile app that makes it a dynamic CVV code. So that 3-digit code on the back of your debit or credit card, when you do online shopping, you enter that in each time you make a purchase. The dynamic CVV code means that it changes every so often. So if somebody hacks and gets that information from an online website, they won't have the information they need to replicate that card purchase because they won't have the CVV code. So that's one example. It's a fraud prevention tool. Another is we have an app, MSUFCU FinLife, and it's in partner with one of our fintechs, Pocket Nest. And MSUFCU FinLife is a budgeting app that automates a lot of budgeting features. It has financial education built in and can take you through different modules depending on the stage of life that you're at for retirement planning or estate planning or getting your first car loan and figuring out what your net worth is. What is your net worth? How do you calculate it?
Right.
So
All those hallmarks that are so important.
So these financial technologies, we're testing new things all the time to make it easier for our members to get what they need. And I'll give a quick plug for my favorite one. It's called Cashback Plus through our partner Prize Out. And so it gives you basically buy a gift card or you purchase an offer from a merchant that gives you an immediate cashback refund. Right now, I'm big on buying things from Barnes & Noble. I've got books stacking up faster than I can read them. And right now, we have, for example, a 20% cashback at Barnes & Noble. So I can look up what is the price of what I'm going to buy, log into the MSUFCU app, and make a purchase of the gift card for the amount that I need, get the cash back instantly, and then go use that gift card to buy what I need, instantly having saved money. And it's a win-win-win because the business wins by getting the money. The credit union wins by providing that opportunity through our mobile app. And the member wins by getting cash back in their pocket.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds like a great way to do it.
Yeah.
I never would have even thought of that. That's, it's the innovation is so nice to see the different products that you guys are coming up with that help different people in different ways. That there's just a place for that.
Yeah. Now, Ian, you had mentioned volunteering and whatnot too. How does that all work?
Yeah, so in each of our regions with the community partners that are requesting donations and sponsorships, et cetera, many of those organizations have events where they're seeking volunteers as well. And so part of my role is to identify those opportunities that align with the organizations we're supporting already and then help to recruit employees to go out and volunteer. The credit union provides employees 8 hours of paid volunteer time off, or VTO, each calendar year to go out into the community and volunteer. And so the organizations, we've volunteered with Habitat for Humanity. We've volunteered for MOCAD in Detroit. There's all kinds of different organizations that fit within our different pillars of giving that we seek to support regularly. A couple of partners right here in Brighton that we work closely with, the Brighton Center for the Performing Arts. They were one of our first partners, and Work Skills Corporation. Those are two of our large partners here in Brighton that we're really leaning into supporting in a number of ways, hoping to get some volunteer opportunities with Work Skills Corporation here soon as well.
Wonderful. And we've had the Brighton Center for Performing Arts on. They were one of our earlier episodes, right?
They were one of the very early episodes. So but both of those are very admirable organizations, and we definitely think highly of them and of course of you guys.
So with those organizations, do you guys reach out to them to partner up? Do they reach out to you? How do you guys decide to make that connection?
Yeah, so it's kind of a blend. So as we were preparing to enter the market here in Brighton to open our new branch, one of my roles was to look for organizations that align well with MSUFCU's values and that would present an opportunity for us to really make an impact. So in some cases, there's outreach that I do. In many cases, as we start to get more awareness about MSUFCU's presence and what we do in the community, we do tend to start getting requests for donations. And so for donation requests, we have a form on our public website at msufcu.org. You can go under the resources tab and select community impact. And that will take you to the form where you can submit for donation requests. And then once we receive those requests, we evaluate based on how much is being asked for, what that kind of aligns with in terms of the number of people that are impacted or the mission of that organization. We like to make sure that the organizations we're supporting align in inclusivity and some of those other principles that of who we are as a credit union. And then we really try and find like what the giving amount that makes sense based on our capacity and our ability to give, as well as the reach.
That makes sense, because I'm sure that there's a lot of great causes in trying to weigh that out and how you can make the biggest impact.
Sure. And we try to look for opportunities to impact the most people that we can. In a number of our partnerships, maybe we do sponsor events that are a little bit more targeted towards a specific group. In many cases, we're looking at, community festivals or community events where we could have a booth and actually get to be out there talking to the community about
great.
why we support that organization and what we can also do to help them as well.
Wonderful. And there are so many different events here in the county, so it's nice to know that you're participating in some of those. And
yeah, absolutely. We work pretty closely with the chamber as well in each of the communities that we're in. And the Greater Brighton Area Chamber of Commerce is one of the largest geographically in this area because they have partnerships with so many other chambers. And so we do work pretty closely with them to identify some sponsorship opportunities and opportunities to get involved.
Great. Yes, they're a great organization for
No,
sure.
and
Yeah, we've had, I feel like we've had them on.
We have had them on.
Yeah. It's been a little bit.
And there are just so many different ways that you guys have an opportunity to outreach to people. And it's nice to see, as a corporation, MSU Federal Credit Union, being that outreach. And when you come in here and bring a bank in here, it's just not, hey, we're dropping the credit union in here. It's you're getting involved in the community as well, that you're a part of that community, because there are so many, alumni here that are also members or have been members in the past. But I know you were saying you don't need to be alumni to join MSU Federal Credit Union.
That's absolutely correct. So everyone who lives, works, worships, or attends school in the state of Michigan is eligible for membership with us. If you're not an MSU fan, I will just mention we're also the official credit union of Oakland University. So you could get Grizz on your card if you're one of those diehard U of M fans. We love you too. You're welcome. We're still a credit union regardless of our affiliations. And so, yeah, one really unique part about credit unions is that we are not for profit. And so what that means is that the money that we earn gets reinvested in the communities where we have a presence. And the donations that we give are only possible because of our members. And so when we're doing outreach and inviting folks to join the credit union, we're really inviting them to become a part of the movement and to become a part of the efforts to give back to the community by just having your financial services with us. And so it really is an empowering thing to join a credit union as well.
And that's a great point to highlight, because you're right. The difference between banks and credit unions, people don't necessarily know, where banks are completely for profit, whereas the whole credit union side of things really is able to give back in a whole different way.
Yeah, and if I can just add to that, some misconceptions I think about credit unions are that they maybe are less safe or that they don't have the same insurance or the same reach. And so a couple things I'll point out. We are insured by the National Credit Union Administration, or the NCUA, and they're basically the counterpart to the FDIC. So if you go to a bank, you see federally insured by the FDIC. You go to a credit union, federally insured by the NCUA. Both federal agencies, the insurance amount is the same, and so your money is equally protected and regulated for your safety and security and soundness of your money. In terms of reach, we participate in a co-op network that gives you access to over 5,000 shared branches across the United States, meaning it doesn't need to be an MSUFCU branch. You can look up, what's the nearest branch that's part of that co-op network and walk right up to their teller line and do your deposits and withdrawals. We also are, through that co-op network, have over 30,000 ATMs. So my best friends live in Minnesota, Minneapolis to be precise. And every time I go there, I know that I can use their Wings Financial Credit Union that's close by to withdraw and deposit money if I need to get some on the go, and there's no surcharges. If you've ever been to a 7-Eleven,
Yeah.
probably.
Right.
So 7-Elevens tend to have co-op ATMs in them as well. So it's very accessible, whether you're actually physically close to one of our branches or not, to access your money wherever you might go.
Right. And that's something that a lot of people may not understand about credit unions or not have remembered, because they're not members of FDIC, but like you said, it's a separate organization that gives the exact same protections. And with you guys opening up branches, I know the Novi one, and then here, not only do you have those shared credit unions that you can go to, but the ATM network is nice as well.
Yeah, definitely makes it
Yeah.
very convenient. And there are a lot of MSU alumni in the county. I'm on the board of directors for the Livingston County Spartans. And so we do have watch parties, but the main purpose of that organization is to hand out scholarships worth about $1,000 to students that live in Livingston County and are attending Michigan State in the fall.
Oh, excellent.
And so it's been such a privilege to be part of that organization, giving back, but it's but interesting just to see how many people, because as we partnered up with the Alumni Association, we were able to get a greater reach. And then when we did a watch party last fall, just had a great turnout, was outstanding. And it just, in terms of great causes, but so much of it is all interlinked and connected to the university.
That's really great to hear. I love that.
Yeah, so I might have to hit you up for, that form to see about donations.
Yeah.
Because we're always looking for a good corporate sponsor. We do a gala every fall, and so there are, little fundraising opportunities here and there, but certainly for like a big corporate sponsor, we're always wanting to pick up any of those.
Yep. We got Mark D'Antonio to come to it year before last,
Oh, wow.
which was
Excellent.
amazing.
That would have been really fun.
It was supposed to be the athletic director, but then something came up. One of the women's teams ended up going
soccer
to the
team.
Soccer team went to the championships, and so Mark D'Antonio had to show up to pinch it for him so that way he could attend that. But it was very exciting, and so, but I love we're so community minded, and even having interactions with other businesses that do want to give back to the community and make a difference. I mean, that's where I think people do want to spend their dollars at, and even a lot of these small businesses that we have on here. That's why it's so great for us to be able to feature them. I know our listeners really enjoy supporting local, and it's nice that even though you guys are kind of MSU and all over, but you're part of Livingston County now.
Yeah, and we do maintain that local focus, and that's really what my role is too, is to identify what are the needs of the communities where we are, because what you need in Brighton might look different than what they need in Ortonville or in Berkeley or in East Lansing, and so how can we bring to Brighton what Brighton needs and really listen and be responsive to that. Yeah. I do want to mention, because you mentioned small businesses, that we do also offer business accounts and services.
Oh, great.
And so organizations and businesses can open their accounts with us. We have business savings, business checking, and our business brand is called Pillar, offering savings checking, lines of credit cards, real estate loans, equipment loans, everything that a business could need, and even startup loans, which is really unique. Not a lot of lenders in Southeast Michigan offer startup loans for businesses, and we do that, and kind of also help guide through that process of setting up your business and developing a business plan and making sure that you have the resources to be successful. And so to anyone out there who has an organization account or needs an organization or a business account, that's another thing that you can check us out for, because our products and services, including business and personal, are all really competitive in terms of your savings rates and loan rates and all of that. So.
Excellent. But
that is
especially,
great to know.
People do think about starting their own business and to not even know where to begin, like to know that you guys have some great resources and for getting kind of that startup financing.
Right. Again, that education aspect of it, which is great, because people don't know where to start. And, a business plan can be a very intimidating thing. So if they have an idea and they're able to sit down and, through the seminars and the other things that you have, kind of help hone in that idea to get to the point where they can apply for a business loan.
And Ian, I just have to say, when I have gone in there, and certainly because my involvement with Livingston County Spartans, we of course have an account there, but the one thing I would definitely say, everybody has been so friendly and nice, and you don't get, from some banks, that are all like, like angry all the time or something, or, you guys are this breath of fresh air, and it's been really a pleasure. Everyone, we met David, he's wonderful and and very youthful. So it's nice to see, because I feel like, a lot of times at banks I see kind of just older people that are tired, and, and it's a lot of energy. It's a lot of positivity, and that's just something that's really nice. Everyone's so upbeat and friendly.
Well, I'm really glad to hear you've had such great service. That is probably the top focus that we have for our staff. In addition to, of course, our innovation and our community involvement, is really we're focused on service, because being in the financial industry, finances are probably one of the top stressors in people's lives. And when you don't know something or don't know how to do something or make a mistake, it can feel very personal and feel like a failure. And our goal is to show our members, potential members in the community, that it's not a personal failure, and that we're here to help you understand things that are, in some cases, it feels very purposefully difficult to understand.
Yeah.
And how can we make things simpler for you and explain it in a clear way so that you know exactly what you're signing up for, and you know how to approach your finances in a way that's going to benefit you and help you achieve those goals that you have. So service is really through our call center, through our e-services, through our branches. Our main focus is how can we be a friendly, welcoming presence to help guide you where you need to go, answer your questions, and really just, take the stigma out of managing your finances.
Yeah, right. I like that.
I love that. I think we're going to have to talk to our middle son about some of this education seminar type stuff. Because I think there's so many people, they're just getting started in life, and, his goal is he wants to get a loan for a car, and he's 17 years old. And it's, talking about the different things. But for so many different stages in life, I think that you guys, through your education and innovation, have some unique things to ease people in and help them along, which I think is a great aspect for, MSUFCU.
Yeah. So, we have our formal presentations, like our seminar series, and then also we have an entire resource specifically for high school and college students called Financial 4.0.
Cool.
So we have those formal things, and I can talk more about Financial 4.0 in a moment. But we also, part of our service philosophy is that every interaction is financial education. So when you come in to do a deposit on your account and we see, hey, there's actually a high yield savings option that would earn you more on this money that you just have sitting in your basic savings account, we're going to tell you about it. It's still your decision whether you want to leave it there or if you want to open that high yield savings and move it. But it's our job to tell you about it. If there's a pre-approval for a credit card and we can see, hey, you have, a high interest credit card with a bunch of, with some debt sitting on it. Did you know that our rate is only as low as 9.9 for our lowest interest rate card? If you do, open that and do a balance transfer, it'll save you a lot of money in interest and you can pay that down. For a car loan, here's what we can offer for a car loan. Here's what to look for when you're going to buy a car if you haven't found one yet. And here are some things to keep in mind as you're going through the repayment or approaching the end of your lease. So every interaction really should be one of those financial education moments, in addition to having the resources to let you do it on your own.
Right.
That is wonderful. And service with a smile at that.
Yes.
Which is great, that they're not the kind that are pushy about it, like just so friendly.
Yeah.
Right. And what was that, the college one? You were saying the
4.0.
4.0.
Yeah. So since I realized I didn't tell people where to go for the seminar series. So the seminar series, if you go to MSUFCU.org and scroll to the bottom of the page, seminars and events is where you're going to find different community events we invite you to, some that we have a presence, and then also all of our upcoming seminars that you can register for. It will say some of them might be in person, so keep an eye on the location. Many of those are virtual, so you can just register and then attend online. For Financial 4.0, that is a website and mobile app of its own that is for college and high school age students. And so you can go in your mobile app and search Financial 4.0 for MSU or for OU, because we have it branded for each.
Oh, great.
And then there's also a website for Financial 4.0, and there's different blogs that come out there. We put out article posts, videos, different infographics and things like that. There's contests and quizzes on there to test your knowledge.
Yeah.
And my personal favorite, there's a calculator section. So when I go car shopping, I pull out my Financial 4.0 app, and I actually will calculate, all right, if I go for 5 years and this is the interest rate, this will be my monthly payment. If I go for 4 years and this is my interest rate, this will be my monthly payment. And it helps me to identify what's within my budget so that I can see, what makes the most sense for me financially in going through this car loan. A lot of times people don't realize, if you take a loan for a longer period, you get a lower monthly payment, but a higher interest rate. And so it'll cost you more in interest over the life of that loan, but it might fit better with your budget.
Right.
And so balancing those two things is really important in those kinds of situations. And then there's information on building credit, what goes into a credit score, getting your first credit card. I know for me, the most important thing to learn with a credit card was to pay it off each month.
Right.
And that
There you
doesn't
go.
mean it needs to be a zero balance. It just means you go through your billing cycle and get your statement, tells you when the due date is. And as long as you pay that balance from the statement before the due date, you're not going to pay any interest on it.
Right. And
And you're building credit.
It's
Well-
so huge, which I think people don't tell the kids enough. Our high school son said that somebody was presenting and explaining why credit cards were banned. They needed to not have credit cards. Like, no, you need to have a credit card, but use it responsibly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
And credit cards are one of the only loans that, like, I still have my credit card from when I first opened it when I was 18. And so that length of credit history is a really
Yes,
important part
important
of your
factor.
credit.
100%.
And so I would see when I used to work in the student branches a long time ago, and you'd see people that would come in and say, I want to get a 1-year personal loan to build my credit. And the problem with that is, number one, you're paying interest for that entire year until you pay it off. And as soon as you pay that off, it falls off your credit report, and it's now not contributing to that length of credit history the same way that a credit card is. And so the really important piece of that is viewing credit cards as a credit building tool,
Yes.
recognizing it is not free money.
Yes.
You do have to pay it off, and that self-control is really important.
Yeah.
Right.
That it's not it's not like you just won the lottery. It's money that it's going to come back for you. And so spend what you can afford to spend and pay it off.
100%.
And to learn how to use it responsibly at a young age.
Yeah.
And I love that you guys have that 4.0 to try to teach young people those things and give them the tools, because there's, like you said, there's people that they fill out for that credit card and they get a credit card and they think it's free money, and then they don't pay their bills. And, next thing you know, they're 19, 20 years old and they're $4,000 or $5,000 in credit card debt, and they have no credit at that point, where you guys are trying to give them that education to inform them and help them through that process, that it's a tool.
Yeah, because, one of the smart things to do is to open that credit card early and use it responsibly, because when you want to get an apartment, they pull your credit. And if you have good credit, your security deposit's going to be less, and you're more likely to get approved for that apartment. When you want to go get a loan for that car,
Right.
your son wants to get, you want to get that car loan, you're going to get a better interest rate, and you're more likely to get approved. And so starting early and setting yourself up for success is really important, versus when you max those credit cards out it's not only expensive as you're paying it back with those high interest rates, but it's also hurting your credit score and making it more difficult to get approved for those other things that should be a breeze,
Right.
like getting an apartment or
Exactly.
buying a car.
Right.
And that is one thing that for young people to have a good credit score is just the most empowering thing they can do for themselves, really.
Yeah.
Yep.
Getting that head start.
No, I just love it because I can tell that you guys are involved in the community and giving back to the community, but involved with your members as well. And giving back to the members and giving them those tools that it's just not a bank, it's a credit union, it's a family. You feel like you're a part of something.
Yeah, and the logo I'm wearing today is our old logo, but our current logo, the one you'll see associated with this podcast, it actually has 3 vertical lines in our logo, and those 3 lines are meant to represent our members, our employees, and the community, and they're tilted upward to move forward so that we're all growing together. And those are a big piece of who we are as a credit union, is always looking at our decisions through how does this impact our members, our employees, and the community, and how can we make the decisions that are in the best interest of all 3 of those groups. And that includes loan decisions, that includes our donations and philanthropy, that includes, the new products and services that we invest in and roll out, is always with those 3 groups in mind.
Excellent. And that's really the kind of business that we like to see supported. It's been so nice having you here today. And
I think I think we've learned a lot about MSUFCU. And again, with the new location right here, if you have if you've been a member for a long time, check them out. And if you're alumni, or even if you're not an alumni, it's a great addition to the community that is not just a building, they're involved in the community.
Absolutely. So how can people find out more information about you, Ian, in terms of MSUFCU? Like, what's the website? Where do they go?
Yeah.
What would you say?
So I would recommend going to MSUFCU.org. That is where you'll see the information about our products and services. If you go under the resources tab and community impact, you can see all of the great impact that we're having in the communities that we serve. And check us out on social media. We post about different events. So if you search MSU Federal Credit Union on any of your social channels, you will come across us. We have a great podcast ourselves also called Wallet Watch, the Wallet Watch podcast by MSU FCU and OU Credit Union. Financial education abound there, as well as things like innovation and fintechs and DEIB. So definitely check us out in any of those channels. If you want to know more and maybe a branch is a little bit tricky to get to during business hours, give us a call. Our call center has expanded hours. We have our online team that can communicate via live chat. We're here. And we're ready to serve you in any way that we can.
Excellent. Thank you so much. This has been great.
We appreciate you coming in today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yep.
And
Welcome
welcome to Livingston.